For Twin Cities Pride Rainbow Run 5K and Kids Rainbow Dash. Join Twin Cities Pride on Sunday, June 30th for an electric run down Hennepin Avenue and feel the energy as parade spectators cheer you on or participate virtually from wherever you are. This year our theme is Show Your Colors 365, so gather your friends and family and dress as bright and colorful as possible to celebrate and to represent your identity in this race for all paces. There will be a contest for best race outfit with prizes. All registration includes a t-shirt and a medal, and you can turn your race into a fundraiser. All proceeds raised support Twin Cities Pride's year-round programming, including Rainbow Wardrobe, youth scholarships, youth game nights, trans and intersex resource network, and free community meals. The 5K starts at 9 a.m. and the Kids Rainbow Dash begins at 10:45. Go to tcpride.org for registration information, routes, and starting locations. That's tcpride.org. Do you have a personal financial goal like buying a car, starting a business, saving for college, or investing for retirement? Whatever your goal is, you need a plan. It might seem overwhelming, but like physical fitness, you can gradually improve your financial health step by step. Start by creating a spending plan, improving your credit score, opening a bank account, or finding a trusted advisor. Not sure where to start? Visit mn.gov/commerce/money for more.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms tonight with a low of 65. Then Friday, more rain and storms likely with a high of 76. Vinaigrette can add the perfect complement to your next home-cooked meal. Taste test their wide selection of oils and vinegars, and they'll bottle it for you right on the spot. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Check them out at vinaigrettemn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local, national, Native news and events, and of course, as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by Native Concrete and Masonry, working together with clients to design, perform, create, and accomplish. Check out their work at nativeconcretemasonry.com and give Chuck a call at 612-597-0421.
Hey, give them a call. That's the old days of television ads. Hey, give them a call.
I like that. Really, give Chuck a call.
Right, exactly. Hey, before we have Robert Lilligren, and then we have a guest from Wisconsin running for Congress. And so that'll be a good conversation and checking in on our Wisconsin neighbors. And again, we're all over civic media, and we really appreciate their support in Wisconsin. And before we get any further into the show, why don't we take a quick listen to the great governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers.
Hey there, Native Roots Radio. Governor Tony Evers here, wishing you a happy Pride. Throughout the month of June, we're celebrating Pride Month and LGBTQ folks and culture and contributions across our state. We raised the Pride flag above Wisconsin State Capitol for the 6th year in a row, are traveling across the state visiting LGBTQ-owned businesses, and hosted the very first Pride Month reception at the executive residence with families, advocates, and LGBTQ leaders. And when it comes to LGBTQ history, Wisconsin has a lot to be proud of. From the Black Night Brawl in Milwaukee, which took place years before the historic Stonewall riots in New York, to being the first state to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation, and to elect an openly LGBTQ woman to the House of Representatives and LGBTQ person to the U.S. Senate. We will always be proud to celebrate Wisconsin's important history of activism and advocacy to support LGBTQ people and advance the rights and freedoms they deserve. But despite this progress, today we continue to see harmful anti-LGBTQ rhetoric across our country and right here in Wisconsin. Hate and rhetoric that we know harms our kids, emboldens hate and violence, and threatens the safety, security, and dignity of LGBTQ people. I promised long ago that I would veto any bill that makes Wisconsin less safe, less inclusive, and less welcoming place for LGBTQ people and kids. As long as I'm governor, that'll never change. No matter who you are, what you believe, who you love, or how you express your truest, most authentic self, you are family here, you belong here, you are welcome home here. And even though Pride Month is coming to an end this month and every month, I will never stop fighting to protect LGBTQ Wisconsinites with every tool and every power that I have. Happy Pride, Wisconsin. Thanks for listening. Back to you, Robert, and Native Roots Radio.
Hey, thank you, Governor Evers, for that update. Some good words. And hey, let's segue to our friend Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in Minneapolis and Minnesota. Welcome, Robert. Good to see you.
Yeah, bonjour, Haley. Bonjour, Robert. It's always great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Nice shirt, by the way.
Yeah, courtesy of Robert Pilot. My favorite Pride shirt. I have several, but this is my favorite.
Well, I appreciate that. For people not being able to see us on YouTube and Facebook, it's our Resist shirt, and it's has rainbow colors through the whole font and arrow and eagle feathers.
Yeah,
really good to see you. And you're wearing that shirt for tonight's debate.
Possibly. I actually wore it into the Four Sisters Farmers Market today, and I got like 3 or 4 compliments on it. I had to run into a couple of other places, Muskiki, Waukegan, our local native-owned pharmacy, and got compliments on it there as well. So, yeah, it's a standout.
Right on. Hey, so let's jump into it right now. How important is this debate tonight, or is it time for people that haven't been paying attention to pay attention?
Yeah, so it's so important, Robert and Haley, that I'm actually going to watch it. And I tend to not watch debates. They bring out anxiety. I'm always waiting for something to go wrong. As someone who has participated in scores of candidate debates myself, it just kind of puts me on edge as a rule. But I think that this one is so important that it bears watching. And this lead up has been out of control. This Trump campaign attacking Biden on some of the weirdest, issues and things, and really trying to lower expectations for Trump with his own base. I mean, they expect him to do poorly. The reports of how each candidate is doing debate prep, which Biden is doing what you'd want him to do, spending time with really smart people and advisors and sort of practicing. And then, of course, going on his usual speaking tours of his 2-hour rambling rallies, right? So I expect that's going to be his style tonight. It's that middle, right? It's those independents, undecideds that really need to be convinced.
Yeah, it seems like the Trump people are already making excuses and wanting drug tests and all these outrageous things.
Right. Clearly, they have low expectations for Trump's performance tonight, and I think they're probably right.
Well, he won't have a crowd to feed off and ad lib like he has, and his mic will be turned off, and so when the president's speaking, he'll be able to finish his thought without interruption, or at least the microphone won't be hot, and then the same microphone will be off and Trump's will be on. And it's the earliest debate in history. So that's an interesting caveat in this too.
Agree. It's the longest presidential campaign in history, the earliest debate. There's a lot of fatigue already, campaign fatigue, and so we'll see what that is. That means I have a hunch that even during the debate with mics turned off, we'll probably still hear Trump yelling in the back.
Yeah.
I don't know that he can really control himself, and if I were President Biden, I would be pushing those buttons, right? I would want American people to see that, to hear that, the lack of sort of decorum and protocol that comes from one of the candidates, that comes from Trump. I think that's an important attribute for us to be gauging these candidates on.
Well, it's good over evil, and the people that are going to vote, the big percentage of the people probably will now start paying attention. They're not junkies like me that are watching, the Morning Joe and listening to the radio and reading the paper. They got to work, they got to do their thing, but they're going to pay attention and hopefully go, what the heck is going on here?
Right. That's exactly right. And then as these campaigns heat up, and I think I'm on every single possible political list, fundraising list. So I get literally dozens, maybe even hundreds of contacts every day about the race. And we need to step in, right? We need to step up. We need to volunteer for campaigns. We need to contribute if we can, contribute campaigns to get people out in the field, turning out voters, good-hearted, good voters. And that really matters. And talking to our friends, family, relatives, that matters huge. So they know what issues are important to you or to us, to me, and that they're not voting against their own families and friends' self-interest.
Well, we got to remind people, including myself, because I'm older, but we got to remind what that Trump presidency means, Project 2025, all these things that people probably don't know and aren't paying attention to yet. And hopefully they will. And we outnumber them. And so let's talk some more about this, Robert, in the next segment.
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren and Haley Cherry, and we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
As we emerge from the shadows of the pandemic, let us celebrate our resilience and embrace the path to a brighter future. While the COVID-19 emergency declaration may be over, our commitment to safety remains stronger than ever. We invite you to stand tall and protect what matters most, our health and the well-being of our loved ones and elders. The power to keep our community safe lies within each one of us. It's important to remember the basics when you're with someone who might be at risk of COVID complications. Wear your mask, wash your hands often, and take an at-home COVID test if you have any symptoms. We are a strong and interconnected community, and together we'll emerge from this challenge stronger than ever. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep the spirit of our Native American culture thriving. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. That's health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
This is Leonard Peltz here. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we are here with Robert Lilligren, our friend, and I like to think of you as our political procrastinator, or not procrastinator, but our go-to person. Say that again?
Oh, no, I can't say it again.
But our go-to person on national and local politics, and we've been talking about these things for years here on Native Roots Radio, and I really appreciate your insight and input about what's happening. How much does the national election affect the local election?
Yeah, well, thanks for the compliment. I don't know that I'm all that, but I appreciate our conversations and for you giving me the opportunity to speak. And national elections have a huge impact locally, and we're seeing these assaults on some really fundamental rights, whether that's women's health, reproductive rights, whether that looks like there's going to be an attack on marriage equality and LGBTQ Spirit Plus that's coming up, and so these things need to be codified in federal law. These rights need to be recognized and codified before the Supreme Court, the activist far-right Supreme Court, can take these rights away from us.
Yeah, and we talked about that, the attack on equal rights and gay marriage when this whole thing went down, and we kind of called it the way it is, and they're not holding back. And the Supreme Court leaked out some kind of really, I don't think that what they had to say really had that much teeth in it. It was like, send it back to the states and waste more time, and they only only pick what they pick. And really, I hope something happens when Biden gets reelected with the Supreme Court, because this is atrocious and it's so one-sided.
Right. Yeah, I was never a big supporter of this concept in the past, but with the Biden reelection, and if and when stronger Democratic majorities in the House and the Senate, I think we should have a debate about expanding the court.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have an activist, radical, right-wing Supreme Court that is not dispensing justice for the entire country, right? They're dispensing justice for a very narrowly defined group of people. And I, for one, feel very left out in a number of. So something does need to change. And I remember I was pretty cavalier back in the early days, the pre-Trump days and the early days of Trump. And we all recognize the risk of a stacked Supreme Court, which we have now. But I really didn't think it was going to happen. And even if it happened, I thought, well, things happen to Supreme Court justices, and justices change. And that kind of happened. It went from balance to bad to worse. And so something does to happen right now. They're legislating our rights. And I, for one, feel like I'm losing rights pretty much every day, or at risk of losing rights pretty much every day.
Absolutely. And then we were never a friend of Clarence Thomas, but all the things that come out with him, and like you said, the cavalier attitude with him and his wife. I mean, really, where is the I don't ever remember hearing anything this tacky coming out of the Supreme Court in my lifetime or in the history.
Yeah, I think it's beyond tacky, Robert. I think it's corruption. It's like deeply Supreme Court justice. And it sounds like there's more of them that are corrupt. Well, but Justice Thomas is sort of the pinnacle of corruption. And, I'm even at 60, I'll be 64 in a week, years of age. I guess I still have this little bit of naivete that wants to believe that somehow Supreme Court justices strive to operate in a sort of a higher moral ground than the rest of us, plebes here on the ground. And then when coming out about how much Justice Thomas used his position to advance his own interests, the interests of his wife and family. It's still shocking. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Supreme Court justice would or could behave that way, and there seems to be very few consequences.
None. And that's where we're in the upside down world here. The former president, the orange one, can say whatever he want, do whatever he want, and there's no consequence. And then when a consequence comes up, whether it's a lost election or a lost trial, he tries to flip it, and it's just amazing. This fake Christian right is never read the book of the New Testament. I mean, it's insane. And then we got people, other wives, getting blamed for things in the Supreme Court for upside down flags of distress, and after January 6th, and the joke is blaming their spouse on it.
Yep. They're willing to give women power there, but they're not willing to give women power in making fundamental decisions about their health care. And you brought up Project 2025, which is sort of the Christian right fascist manifesto, and they're being very clear, right? This is what we're going to do if Trump gets reelected, and if they take control of the legislature, they're going to really legislate a extreme Christian nationalist agenda, and we should all be concerned about that.
Well, and then getting rid of the Department of Education, and then having basically a hit list of people that were against him and get them out of the government and go after them. People should really be aware of just that. Not even to mention that the women's rights and everybody's rights are being taken away, and it's there in black and white.
Right? They're not hiding it. They're not being secretive at all. And so yeah, I think for people like us who want to see some different future for this country, it really matters that we engage with our family circles, our social circles, our work circles. And in my years of campaigning, I really think back to the constitutional amendments that we had on the ballot a few years back here. One to codify discrimination in our state constitution around marriage, and one to codify discrimination around voter access through the voter ID laws. Those were constitutional amendments that Republicans proposed here in Minnesota not all that long ago, and it blew up faces. It meant a whole turnover in party control of our state government, and ultimately in legislation that created marriage equality as a law of the land here in Minnesota and voter access. But Minnesota was in an incredible position there after half the states in our country had passed these constitutional amendments discriminating against marriage equality. And Minnesota was the first state to turn that around, that at a popular vote, that kind of discriminatory constitutional amendment was defeated. And the strategy that was tried out here and was incredibly successful was person to person, right? Family member to family member, friend to friend, coworker to coworker, having these conversations. We were trained at that time to have these sometimes difficult conversations. And we shifted the focus of those conversations from civil rights to love and family. And it worked. And so based on that experience here, I would just, for listeners, I would lift up. You talk to your family, talk to your coworkers, talk to your relatives, talk to your neighbors and friends. And it's not always easy, but it is so important. People are much more likely to change their hearts and minds due to that one-on-one conversation.
And that's one strategy, but I also like make voting a tradition strategy about getting people going, voting. And we always talk about if your young ones, if it's first time you ever vote, you'll be a lifetime voter, and all those great things that make voting a tradition. The organization that you're with and help really.
Right. It's successful, right? And it seems, the fairly small in numbers. Right? We're a small community, but when elections are won by 1 or 2% of the vote, we can be a decisive voting bloc. And so we on younger people. Now in Minnesota, we can register 16, 17-year-olds, so they're ready to go when they vote. We've been focusing on ex-convicts who are re-entering and making sure they're aware of their voting rights. Just add that to that fairly small base. And right now we're really deep into what we call our auntie strategy, right? We look at aunties in the families because our data shows families will vote, first off, if their aunties tell them to, and aunties can really direct their vote to a certain candidate or to a certain issue. I mean, it's effective. So we're gathering data to show how Native communities can really generate more votes and influence the outcomes of elections.
So it's nothing to fear but fear itself. It sounds like we're engaged and ready to fight back from and help things get back to normal and be able to push more of our more of our agenda once we get people that will listen.
Yep, that's the plan.
Thank you so much, Robert Lilligren of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Minneapolis, Twin Cities area. Always a pleasure to have you on.
My pleasure. Gigawabam and Haley and Robert.
We'll see you next week. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break with who, Haley?
Katrina Shankland of Wisconsin.
Right on, running for Congress. We'll be right back.
Imagine over 7,000 voices from around the globe coming together in harmony in Minneapolis. This summer, Gala Choruses Festival 2024 comes to Minnesota. It's the world's largest LGBTQ+ singing event. From July 10th through 14th, Minneapolis will be transformed into a vibrant city of song. Join 122 choruses from places as far as China, Estonia, Finland, Ukraine, and Taiwan for 5 unforgettable days of wall-to-wall concerts, workshops, and social events at world-class venues like Orchestra Hall, the Minneapolis Convention Center, and Central Lutheran Church. One standout event not to miss is the free Choral Carnival on Friday, July 12th. Experience excitement as downtown Minneapolis comes alive with 45 to 60-minute rotating performances. Feel the energy in person by purchasing tickets at galacourses.org or stream every performance live and on demand at galacourses.org. Celebrate love, diversity, and the power of music at Gala Choruses Festival 2024, where every voice matters. July 10th through 14th in downtown Minneapolis.
Last night we put on an epic light show.
Yeah, we did.
The crowd loved us. We love the crowd.
Wait, but there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? All 8 of their eyes lit up brighter than ours. And we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, that one girl, she looked like she'd never seen glow in the dark like this before. And we invented glow in the dark.
Yeah, we invented it.
And we're going to be out here every night rocking out our light show at a forest near you.
Woohoo!
So come check us out.
Check us out.
And bring your kid, all ages show. Oh, but don't bring any of those glass jars, because they make us kind of nervous.
Yeah, and I'm super claustrophobic.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you and discover other cool things to do when you go, like fishing, biking, or even camping. Visit discovertheforest.org.
See you later.
Yeah, see you soon.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. If you need new windows for your home or business, I highly recommend 952 Windows. They offer windows and doors with the longest warranties and Energy Star's #1 most efficient ratings. I can personally vouch for them, having known the owner for decades. They did a fantastic job on our second floor addition 20 years ago, installing windows, roofing, siding, and even adding a master bedroom and bathroom. In my opinion, they're one of the most best-kept secrets in remodeling. As Onyx Bath and Rosebud cabinet dealers, 952 Windows guarantees top-quality products. Until now, 952 Windows thrived on referrals and the loyalty of satisfied Window Light customers. They continue to support these customers by providing warranty parts for the 80,000 windows sold since 1994. For unbeatable deals and trusted service on windows, doors, roofing, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, and more, call 952 Windows or visit 952windows.com. Dive into a world where tradition meets innovation, satire meets symbolism, and Native American art takes center stage. All My Relations Arts and the Native American Community Development Institute proudly unveil Alternative by Frank Buffalo Hyde. Alternative is an electrifying exhibition that uses satire to push boundaries and demand a closer look at the vibrant complexities of Native identity in today's world. So embrace the unexpected and challenge norms with Alternative by Frank Buffalo Hyde, showing now at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms tonight with a low of 65. Then Friday, more rain and storms likely with a high of 76. Vinaigrette can add the perfect complement to your next home-cooked meal. Taste test their wide selection of oils and vinegars, and they'll bottle it for you right on the spot. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Check them out at vinaigrettemn.com.
Anine, I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native-owned J.S. Bean Factory in St. Paul. Only the good stuff keeps us awake.
Yes, it does keep us awake, and this is Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake, and we're woke and awake here on Native Roots Radio. Hey, we have a special guest, and I guess, Haley, all guests are special, but this is the first time Katrina's on our show, and I want to welcome Katrina to the show here, and you're running for Congress in Wisconsin, where we want to know who you get to know who you are, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled to be here. I'm Katrina Shankland. I am a Democratic state lawmaker. I represent most of Portage County in the Wisconsin State Assembly and have been since 2012 or 2013, actually, when I took office. And now I'm running for Congress across Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District, which covers 19 counties in western and central Wisconsin. So I am thrilled to be here.
Right on. And we were just talking about the debate coming on and how much the national politics really affects local politics, and it's great to have you on, and let's have a chat and let everyone here we're on the Civic Media Network too, all over Wisconsin, and have people get to know you, and just feel free to tell us who you are and what's your background, and what got you into politics.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I could spend an hour talking about what got me into politics. I think for me, I had never planned to run for office, but ever since I was a kid, I've always been a person who's very solutions oriented. And what I mean by that is when I was a small kid, I would come home all the time and complain to my parents about something that happened. Like I would see litter on the side of the road and I'd be so upset. And my mom would just say, Katrina, what are you going to do to fix it? Stop complaining. What's the solution? And so I learned from a young age that instead of complaining, really finding ways to fix things, especially in my own community. And I have a degree in political science from UW-Madison. And my first job out of college was at the Midwest Renewable Energy Association. And I loved it. I was building solar training capacity in the Midwest. We put together a 6-state network of technical colleges, universities, and nonprofits that were training solar installers back when the cost of solar was very different than it is now. And so our goal was, as the cost of solar was going down, we would make sure we had the workforce to install these solar panels on homes, farms, and businesses. And in that time, state politics changed pretty drastically overnight. And I was noticing from my desk job, realizing that I was really upset about the changes that I had been seeing, whether it was attacks on our environment, on our voting rights. They passed a really gerrymandered partisan legislative maps. They rolled back solar in Wisconsin, as well as abortion and reproductive freedoms. and workers' rights too. And so I got really upset, and I just heard my parents' voice in my head. What are you going to do about it? I became an organizer in central Wisconsin in 4 counties, including Portage County, Wood County, Western Marathon County, and Clark County. And then I ended up running for office because volunteers who I got to know over months and months of organizing, knocking on doors, talking to voters on the issues, they said, why not you? And I thought, why not me? You know, I'd never thought that I was going to be running for office, but once it was presented to me as an option, as a solution to a problem, I thought, okay, I can do this. And so 12 years later, after serving in the state legislature, passing 225 bipartisan bills into law, working with both parties to do so, from water quality to public education to protecting our first responders and supporting our farmers with conservation and leading on rural healthcare access and affordability. You know, I've gotten a lot done, and I'm proud of that work. And I know that we need fighters like me for Wisconsin in Congress. We need people more focused on solutions than they are on creating new problems for their constituents. And I think I just really described Derek Van Orden in that contrast. He's our current representative in the 3rd, and he spends a lot of time yelling at his constituents instead of solving problems. So that's why I'm working hard to challenge and defeat him in November.
Well, it's exciting to hear. We hear this a lot. We have a lot of politicians on the show, and we have like a couple state senators and a state representative, and both of them have similar stories. It's like, you know, why didn't I do something? And then I realized why doesn't somebody do something? And I realized I was somebody. And that seems like a pattern with our political people. And that's really exciting you're a doer, and you're lined up to do that. So that's fun to hear that, because we hear that a lot.
That's great. I think the best people who serve in our state government and on every level of government, local government, federal government, are the ones who were asked. People who came to them and said, will you step up and serve? Because they saw a leadership quality in them. They didn't just dream of having a title and holding power for power's sake. For me, I view public service as doing the greatest good for the greatest amount of people and using the power that you have for your community and leveraging it, you know, being a fierce voice for your community members and crying tears with them when they're facing some of the worst challenges of their life, and celebrating victories with them when they're facing the best parts of their life. And that's how I talk about this job to my constituents. We just had an event here in Stevens Point, and a lot of folks who came out were the ones who stood beside me in 2012. And it made me really emotional thinking about how much we have achieved together. For me, holding public office and serving in it is really about leading alongside your constituents and taking cues from them. What issues are important to them? How can you be of service? It is less about serving yourself and more about serving the needs and interests of your district and being their champion. So what I like to say when I talk about my job to people, especially when I'm presenting about it to kids like our 4th graders who are learning civics and state history for the first time, is I say, I don't go down to the Capitol with a blue or a red jersey. I go down to the Capitol with a Portage County jersey. That's how I think about it. My team are my people here in Portage County. And now that I'm running for Congress, that means the 19 counties from Pierce County and Dunn County to Grant County and Jackson County and Portage County and Wood County and La Crosse County and Eau Claire County and so many more, right? And that, to me, that's what service is. It's really about putting yourself out there to help others and to serve alongside of them by bettering and improving your community every single day of the week.
Well, we have a big potpourri of listeners all over the country, and I know what you're talking about too is Ho-Chunk country, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to say something to our people of Ho-Chunk that are listening to the show, and say a big hello to them.
Yeah, I really want to say hello and thank you for the opportunity. I grew up in Wittenberg, Wisconsin, and so I love our Ho-Chunk Nation tribal members. And I was just at the Code Talkers Memorial Honor Highway, or I should say Memorial Highway of Honor. There we go. The other day with our Ho-Chunk members, and I'm thrilled that we have been able to pass a bill to honor the 14 Code Talkers we're aware of. I think there are more, and we know that Sandy is working tirelessly to uncover more, but to honor the 14 veterans who are Code Talkers their entire lives. And so I'm really excited about that. I cherish our Ho-Chunk Nation and am really grateful for the opportunity to get to know you all and hopefully serve you in a new capacity in Congress.
That's awesome too. A good friend of mine, Kristen White Eagle and Shelby Byzantine, were really big spearheads with you guys and getting this done and working with you guys. And I just want to give those guys a big shout out too. And it's exciting and bipartisan things can happen, and acknowledgement is huge. And we really appreciate the work that you put into that too.
Thank you. The work that I did was simple. I put my name on a bill, and I got to learn at this event how many people, like the ones you mentioned and many others, had gone down to the Capitol and really pushed to make it as bipartisan as possible. So I want to thank them. I think the most powerful thing I heard that day was they had been working on it for 5 years, but for decades, their own family members weren't even aware that they were code talkers. And so for many people, this was decades and decades and decades of work in the making to discover, uncover, and herald and honor their contributions. What was really powerful, they developed an unbreakable code, right? Based on their native language. And at the same time that they were doing that, there were efforts to destroy that native language. And so how powerful is it that the key to stopping fascism coming to our country during World War II was this native language being preserved? And it really speaks to how important cultural preservation is to our country, to our democracy, to culture in general, and everyone's benefit. And I thought that was a very moving point that was made, and was deeply honored to be a part of it. And, here's what I'll say. I've seen a lot of great bills pass into law over the years. I've also seen a lot of amazing bills never get a hearing or a vote. And for the Ho-Chunk Nation to get this done on the first try, this bill was introduced and immediately passed unanimously. You have so much power to do so much good. And I'm so encouraged by this and know that it's just the beginning.
Yeah, big Peeny Gigi. And you probably know this, and I just want to remind our listening audience out there, we have the highest, Native Americans are the highest percentage per capita of people that are in the military. So, if they want to talk about natives as a race, we have more Native Americans per capita in the military than any other race in the United States. And that's something really, and I'm sure you know that, Katrina, that we like to hang our hats on. And we really, the veterans are one of the most respected people in our nations.
I think it's a factor of 5. So you're absolutely right. It's 5 times greater percentage-wise than any other group who has served in the military. And that speaks volumes about your service, your sacrifice, and your selflessness to those veterans who are listening. Thank you. And I saw firsthand at the Memorial Day powwow how deeply cherished our veterans are, and want to just say again how much I appreciate and how much our country stands in solemn appreciation and gratitude to our veterans who gave their lives for this country, as well as to our veterans who are still here and their family members who have served alongside of them in a different way, right? In a different kind of sacrifice. The meaning is so great that there really aren't words for it. And so the best we can do is these ceremonies, and, the powwow was a tremendous opportunity to learn more as well.
Well, let's get back and after this quick break, and we're here with Katrina Shankland, running for Congress in Wisconsin. And I want to get out front before I forget how we can support you. So we'll be right back after this short break. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Bonjour, hello. My name is Wabin. I am an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation, descendant of the Navajo Nation, and co-chair of the Indigenous Employee Resource Group with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. MnDOT is hiring for a variety of positions from road maintenance to accounting and more. We offer great benefits. For more information or to set up a one-on-one resume and application assistance, visit mn.gov/careers, or you can text or call 612-257-2388. 612-257-2388.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Dive into a world where tradition meets innovation, satire meets symbolism, and Native American art takes center stage. All My Relations Arts and the Native American Community Development Institute proudly unveil Alternative by Frank Buffalo Hyde. Alternative is an electrifying exhibition that uses satire to push boundaries and demand a closer look at the vibrant complexities of Native identity in today's world. So embrace the unexpected and challenge norms with Alternative by Frank Buffalo Hyde, showing now at All My Relations Arts in Minneapolis.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, we are here with Katrina Shankland of Wisconsin and talking about Code Talkers, her run for Congress, and we're really excited to have you on and get to know you a little better. I want to bring this up right away before I forget, because I obviously forgot the last segment. How can people support you and find out more about you?
Absolutely. Well, first, people can go to my website, Katrina Shankland for Congress. If it's easier, you can go to Katrina for Wisconsin, FOR Wisconsin, all spelled out.com. It'll lead you to the same place. You can get to know me there, more information about my platform, ways to contact me. And really, what you should know about me is I am running to bring some common sense to Congress. I know that Washington isn't working for us. It feels so inaccessible and unapproachable in many different ways. And that's not fair to some of the good people who are working there, but we all know that there's obstruction and chaos and dysfunction happening. And I do believe our current representative in the 3rd, Derek Van Orden, has been a part of that. And so that's why I'm running to challenge him and also to solve problems. And so I encourage people to reach out to me through my website. They can also go on social media, Katrina Shankland for Congress on Facebook, Instagram, and Vote Shankland on Twitter, and we can communicate there too. So I really appreciate that.
Excellent. Absolutely. I'm old enough to remember when Wisconsin was not as purpley as it is now, and the gerrymandering that's happened there. And now we have redistricting happening and putting tobacco out and praying that Wisconsin comes back in a good way that it should be and really represent their people.
I am so excited that for the first time in nearly 15 years, we have new state legislative maps. What that means for the people of Wisconsin is that we will have a more responsive government. When more members of the legislature have serious elections and more competition for their spot, they actually listen and they will be more accountable to the people. They'll show up to more meetings. They'll be more available. For as long as I've been in office, we have had partisan gerrymandered maps. And in those 12 years, I have fielded phone calls not only from all over central Wisconsin. Keep in mind, I represent about 60,000 people just in Portage County. I get calls not only from Wood County and Marathon County and Wapaka County, but also from other areas of the state. We're talking Northeast Wisconsin and Southern Wisconsin and Western Wisconsin. And it's because if they had a lawmaker who wouldn't return their calls, there would be word of mouth. Somebody had an unemployment claim or a DSPS license that they needed fast tracked, and they'd say, well, call her office. She calls me back. That shouldn't be the case. I'm very happy to do that work, but I shouldn't have to do the work of other legislators who are also getting paid to supposedly do their jobs. And that's because of partisan gerrymandering. I am positive that next year, when there are more representative state lawmakers in both the Assembly and the Senate, that won't be the case, because there is a historic number of competitive districts for the first time in over a decade in both the Senate and Assembly. And that means greater competition, more people fighting to represent you. And that's good for democracy, and it's good for every voter of every political ideology.
Amen to that. We had our relative Trisha Zunker run a couple times, and it was just amazing how gerrymandered that area was, and hopefully she'll get back into it. And she's a Ho-Chunk sister, and we need good people like you and her to represent us. So I want to give you one more quick opportunity to give the website, and we really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I would love to be back and really appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Katrina Shankland. I'm a Democratic state lawmaker running for Congress in Wisconsin's 3rd Congressional District, covering Western and Central Wisconsin. And I am running to give a voice to everyone and bring common sense to Congress. So people can reach me at KatrinaShanklandForCongress.com or KatrinaForWisconsin.com. They can also find me on social media at Katrina Shankland for Congress on Facebook and Instagram, and Vote Shankland on Twitter. Thank you so much, and Pinagigi.
Oh, right on. Hey, well, we will be talking to you soon. And now that you see Haley really runs the show here. So just reach out to Haley, and we'll get you on again soon.
Thank you both. Really appreciate it. Take good care.
All right, you too, Pinagigi. Thanks for being on. Wow, that was awesome. It's really good to hear young people running for office, Haley.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Congress and you look at these people that have been in for 40, 50 years that are 70, 80, 90 years old, and we need the new younger people to come on.
Oh, I know. And I was thinking too, just during the conversation and just thinking about the presidential debate this evening. And as we were in conversation, I'm getting texts from, Democratic parties about the Gen Z turnout at the debate. So it just got me thinking about so I'm Gen Z. I'm one of the older Gen Zs and born at the top of that generation. But I really don't know any other Gen Zs who are supporting the former president, the orange one. And it just makes me realize Gen Z is going to be, the higher voter turnout compared to baby boomers this year for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And I really think, as a Gen Z population, I obviously am not speaking for every Gen Zer, but I mean, I think, Donald Trump doesn't stand a chance with us.
Yeah. And a really good point, and I want to make another point along with that, is that we outnumber them. We just have to stay engaged and not listen to mass media, because you may hear people say that the media is biased or left wing. Well, they're owned by billionaires, and there's 8 companies out there that own 90 to 95% of mass media out there. And so, again, our friend Arvina brought up a while ago that it's not this close. We got to stay engaged. These news medias still want the clicks and the views, and so they can make money on the advertising, and they're not doing their job, Haley. They're not doing their job at all. This guy's a lunatic,
He really
and
is.
they give him free range to say whatever he wants, and in 90% of the times it's lies.
Yeah. And just the horrible, horrible things that he's said about women, done to women. I mean, I don't know exactly the number of how many, females are living in the United States, but that's a majority of the population. So I don't understand how women of any kind are behind him.
Well, 51%, right? Are of the people in this country are women. And it's a different thing, but I really want to focus on the people that voted last election, and the new ones, and people that are like-minded, because I really feel like we're not going to change the mind of people that are entrenched for whatever reason, whether it's they're embarrassed to change their mind,
Yeah.
or to say that they were wrong, um, or quietly vote Democrat and not know. I mean, Biden won by 8 million votes.
Yeah.
Let's get real.
Yeah.
Is he going to
It's
lose
time.
8 million votes in 4 years?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's look at the facts and what's proven to be true and not just, hearsay.
Right. And we'll be watching the debates tonight and listening, and we'll probably be discussing that tomorrow for at least half the show. And I'm really glad that we got Katrina on, and
Yeah.
it's good medicine to hear good things about Ho Chunk and her
Always.
experience with us. And
Yes.
so vote early and vote often is what they used to say in Chicago politics.
Hey, that makes sense.
Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. If you're listening to us, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground in which we stand on is sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, and vote, and help everybody vote. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
And free Leonard Peltier. Now. The city of